Alright you guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the nursery again, potting up crops for the seedling sale. Alright, well, we're going to start things off with some spaghetti squash and patty pans. And then we got a whole bunch of cucumbers down there too. They're starting to get quite big for the cell tray, so we're going to throw them all into 4-inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the 4-inch filled up with dirt now. Okay, well, we ended up with just about 2 trays of patty pan, too short. So I'll just top those up with the spaghetti, not a big deal. One thing I've been noticing too on our farm, and I'm not sure if you guys have had the same experiences, is that we usually plant 1 bed of patty pan and then 1 bed of zucchinis, either greens or red, depending on the time of the year. But what I've been noticing is that the deer don't seem to like the patty pan zucchinis quite as much. They'll come in and devastate an entire bed of zucchinis, like standard zucchinis, greens and yellows, but they don't seem to ever really get in and do the same kind of damage to a patty pan zucchini. So curious if you guys are having that same problem, and if so, just leave a comment and let us know, because I'm going to plant a lot more patty pans if that's the case and it's not just a one-off problem that I'm having. So the tags for the scallop, well, patty pans, you can see the picture's correct, but for some reason they're called scallops, so it gets a little confusing, but everybody seems to know, I hope, that this is a patty pan when you see these tags. So we'll get these tagged up and then we'll move on to the spaghetti. We ended up with 1.5 trays of spaghetti. So add it to our long row. And what else do we got next? Winter squash. I think we'll save the cucumbers. What are these? Green zucchini, yellow zucchini. I think we'll do these first. Butternut and winter squash delicata. So the one thing with the cucumbers and zucchinis is they just grow so darn fast. I want to get them potted up as fast as we can. And then it's always the same kind of deal, is we'll just try to get them as deep into the plug as we can. So right up to here. And then you can see that this is a little dry. See how it kind of crumbles? So I'll give that just a shot of water just to hold it together a little bit better, but the roots are looking really good. All right, well, if you've never grown the delicata zucchini, or winter squash, I guess, it's a really good one to grow because you know when it's done. I know a lot of other winter squashes and melons and whatnot, that they're not always easy to tell when they're fully ripe. There's a few that kind of give signs, but the nice thing about these ones, I don't know if you can see on the tag there, but they're yellow with a green stripe. And how you tell that these are done is when the stripe on the bottom, the side touching the ground, is orange. The one stripe will go orange, and then you know that these are ready to go, which is kind of nice as a grower. You can kind of go through and just check them as you pick them. So that's kind of the reasons I like them. And I mean, they're delicious as well. So if you haven't tried delicata, I highly suggest it. So for our seedling sale, one thing that we'll do is that we'll alternate the varieties from each succession so that it's not the same. So for the succession 1, we did delicata, butternut, spaghetti, and then what we'll do for the next succession, we'll do the two most common ones again. So it'll be spaghetti, butternut, and then instead of delicata, we'll switch and do like an acorn squash or something along those lines. And then on the third succession, we'll probably cut back by half on spaghetti and butternut, because there's probably still going to be some left that didn't sell. And then we'll do 3 new varieties so that it's always something different when people come back to shop. And then you're not stuck just having a bunch of the same variety and not feeling the need to do 7 different varieties at each succession. You can just kind of alternate, and then by the end of the season, as the weeks progress, you'll have a variety from each succession. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, I don't feel like you got to plant 7 varieties on every single succession, because it gets to be a bit much. We're gonna jump into some green zucchini and gold zucchini. We're gonna do a few mixed trays. And then just one quick note on the gold and the green is that if you're planning on growing these for, say, like a market or to sell, or even if you're buying them, I guess, from your local farmer's market, is that what I've found, being that we're doing this at scale, is that the gold zucchinis do not last as long in your fridge, whether it be home fridge or walk-in cooler. I find that they start to go a little bit soft and slimy, especially if they've been handled a little bit rough. They almost bruise, where the green zucchinis seem to last quite a bit longer, and they're a little bit tougher in regards to bruising and blemishes. I think that's probably why you see more green zucchinis in the grocery store and not as many golds, is that these just have a better shelf life. So something to keep in mind, that if you're looking for long term to get you from week to week at the markets, I suggest these ones. And if you're looking for something you're going to eat within the first couple days, I'd go with the gold, because I think these probably have a better flavor, but they just don't last quite as long in the fridge. So this time of year always gets a little bit challenging now that a lot of the vegetables are starting to come ready. So you can see that we're pulling off of kind of right where I'm pointing there now, and we've gone through 5 trays and 5 trays, I guess it'd be 4, and it's turned into this many. So you think you're potting up to create space, but you're actually making less. And the sale house is damn near full. There's a bit more room. We'll be able to get more veggies up there. Overflow into greenhouse 2 is rather full. And I'm supposed to be planting greenhouse cucumbers in there in 5 days. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. We'll have to make room and tighten things right up. But these will probably hang tight here for at least a day or 2 until they get over their shock, if they do any at all. And then we'll start dispersing them up to the other 2 greenhouses. So like I said, as you can see, things are getting full, but we got to keep moving forward. So we're actually going to be jumping into cantaloupes now. Yes, we're actually just going to hang tight on these cantaloupes. I was wondering if they were going to be big enough, but you can see they don't even really have like a single true leaf really starting. I was just being a little impatient, but you can see that they're really only rooting up so far on one side of the cell plug, or the plug. So I popped enough just to finish this tray. So we'll give those another bit of time, and we will go grab the cucumbers, because I think they're probably farther along. So no sense rushing it. We got tons of time. Let the rest of those size up. These will get a bit of a jump, and we'll slide on over to cucumbers. We're just starting to rip through the dirt now. That was a bag and a half already, just with what we've done. So we'll mix up another batch here, and we'll keep on rocking and rolling. All right, well, we finished the English. Ended up with 3.5 trays. We're gonna jump into field cucumbers. And for these ones, they are straight 8s is the variety for the first round. And just for anybody that's watching this is thinking about starting a seedling sale on their farm, I would highly recommend it. It's a great addition to your farm if you already have farming activities going on, like vegetable sales or meat sales. It's just another way to get you rocking and rolling first thing in the spring. We've taken this from that little building that you can see just through the door there. It used to have a plastic roof on it. That was our first greenhouse. And Shaylin and I handmade paper pots out of newspapers all winter long, and then seeded everything and started at the farmer's market, and just to feel out if the community even wanted a local source of plants. And then from there it grew into us going full send, committing one whole greenhouse to it, landing a wholesale contract, and now it's basically everything we do from February until June 15th is basically seedling sale. And then obviously I'm out in the gardens getting them all prepped up, and then once June 15th hits, Shaylin jumps gears, all the staff jumps gears, and we go full send into the CSA garden and farmers market. So don't be scared to start small, and once you get good feedback from your community, it's a great way to support them and what they need, and also get you up and rolling for the season to get some income rolling in so that you can make a real living at this farming small scale. So I hope that helps. All right, well, you can see behind me made a good dent. We managed to get that winter squash, summer squash, and the start of the cucumbers. I still got some pickling cucumbers left to do. I'll do that after lunch. So I'm gonna head in and do lunch, but why don't we fast forward to tomorrow and we will jump into sale tomatoes for the seedling sale. All right, we're back out in the nursery again today, and today we are potting up tomatoes. So we're doing slicer tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and paste tomatoes, all for the seedling sale. And we'll probably have about 400 to do, give or take, round one. We'll probably do 4 successions throughout from now until the next 4 weeks. So this is just succession 1, starting off with big beef. So I got 1 and a bit trays of big beef. So we will grab the tags, tag these up, and then I'll just grab some of the extras to fill in what's left. And we also are going to be doing Mountain Merit and Tasty Lee for slicers for this first round. So big beef is always one of the tomatoes that we always seem to sell out of the fastest. So every year we seem to grow just a little bit more, just trying to find that happy medium between having just the right amount. There's nothing worse than having too many, than getting too big and then having to compost them. So for our seedling sale, we run all of our tomatoes in 4-inch. And for dirt, we're just using a standard all-purpose potting soil. And then I'll always add a bit of amendments into the mix before putting it into the pot. So for this round, I used a feather meal and a 444, just all-purpose organic fertilizer, just to give the tomatoes a little extra kick off the start. So now that that's all mixed up, we'll just keep filling some trays and we'll jump straight into those Mountain Merits. Okay, so for some of the varieties, we aren't able to get tags all the time. So what we'll do is we'll just run a general purpose tag and then right on the back, which it's a little inconvenient, but it's not horrible. When we first started our seedling sale about 5 years ago, we actually hand wrote every single tag on everything that we potted up for us and for wholesale. So it was a real big chore, where now we order in as many tags as we can just to speed the process up, but there's still a few that don't always seem to either make it here on time or we can't find that variety. So anyways, those 2 are done, and we will jump into paste tomatoes now. So there actually ended up being 1 more tray of slicers. So these ones are Mortgage Lifter, Celebrity, and Brandy Wine. Shaylin will usually try to seed up probably 10 different varieties of slicers, 4 or 5 different varieties of paste tomatoes. We usually do a San Marzano, Aroma, a few other ones. And then she usually does the most variety for cherry tomatoes. So we usually do about 10 different varieties of cherry tomatoes, I'd say. Give or take, all different colors, all different shapes, sizes. And then like I had said earlier, we'll usually shoot to do about 3 to 4 successions. So every 2 to 3 weeks we got new starts coming up to the sale house. And then what she'll do when she seeds them in like this is she'll leave one row empty in between each variety. That way you can tell where the different varieties start and stop. Okay, well, you guys can see behind me here, we managed to get all those tomatoes potted up. So I think we ended up with right around like 400, give or take. So slicers, paste, and cherry tomatoes. But with the sun going down, that just means it's time to close up greenhouses. And I'm gonna have to get those beets and onions that I brought out to harden off back inside. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we got those beets and onions back inside. We'll just leave them at the front of the greenhouse. That way it's quick for tomorrow to bring them back out. And then we're just stacking them kind of out just outside, so they get a little bit of wind, a little bit of chill. And then one thing we'll also be doing this week is we're going to try to trim all these onions. We trim them once before we let them go outside. So we'll cut about an inch off of them and then let them size up again, and then they'll go out in 2 weeks time. All right, well, that's going to be it for today's video. Things this time of year get a little bit repetitive, but there's a lot of planting coming. This stuff for the garden is just getting ready. Next week we really start hitting it hard. I think I got about 9 beds to plant. So make sure you like, subscribe. That way you can follow us along this season. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.